How is everybody today? Don't know. I usually just want to do this thing every day, but then there's a lot of work, a lot of things happening, a lot of things are happening. But yesterday was the last uh, match day, Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday, where Liverpool won 3-2. But then just before that, there's a lot of things that are happening. Chat that we need to discuss. And the first the first no the first thing is about just interest of players, because there's this news about the Borussia Dortmund, about the parents for Job Bellingham and Jude Bellingham going to, you know uh, the management, is it the coach and the technical directors, and just trying to have a word with them why they subbed Job in that game, the first game of the season. And it says they were banned. And that just goes to explain. We have seen this thing happening even with, I think, Jed Spence parents just being involved with how the managers are treating their child, their player, their child, and how in the past it was the agents just being, you have to do this, you have to do this. Why is the players not playing? We need our players to play in this game. We need our players to get some of the minutes. And now it's just parents, some fans. It has reached a point where some, particular fans just want these players to play. It doesn't matter whether they are playing to the best, whether they are helping the team, whether they are scoring, whether they are not scoring. They just want them to play. And this is the thing. The fans, if you, there's just some, separation between. Now, we have a club where there are so many fans, but then within the fan, there are fans, like you can say, even for Chelsea, there were fans who are fans of, Cobham graduates, or just saying, yo, we need the academy players. There were fans who are fans of players who are of African descent. There were fans who are fans of, black players. There were fans who are fans of particular countries, like you had Modric fans, you had Enzo fans, you had, Caicedo fans, and it didn't matter. It was bad to an extent where if Modric was not playing and the team lost, you had fans who are happy that the team lost because Modric was not playing. If the team was, a lot of, like, you had Corner, you had Mount, you had like a lot of those Cobham graduates, and they were playing and they lost, some fans were happy because, Enzo was left. This particular guys was left now. And it has reached a point where you are arguing with fans, you are arguing with particular people, you are arguing with particular people about the club, and then you realize this person is not even a fan of this club. This person doesn't even, is not that guy where you want the club to win despite anything. It's like we only want this club. It's like conditional fanning. Like we can only want this club to win if this and this and this and this are done. Like you have to sign these players, you have to sign Osimhen for this club to win. You have to send away Nicholas Jackson for us to celebrate if this club wins. You have to send away Maresca for us to appreciate this club winning. And even for the players, and it's the thing that's happening even with the transfers, even with, some people right now, even with the players, how they were, how they behave during transfer season. It's like, yeah, I'm just here for work. I'm just here to earn. If I get a place to go, I'll go. It's not like in the past where people are built for the clubs. You had people just behaving as like you are built for the club. Like you say, if I'm playing for Chelsea, then there's no way I'm playing for another London club. There's no way I'm playing for Arsenal. There's no way I'm playing for Spurs. There's no way I'm playing for any rival of this. If I'm going to leave this club, I'm going to go to either Spain, either Germany, France. Like the players themselves had that connection to the club of that they didn't want to, break. Right now we have, I know there's a change in the way the clubs act, in the way the players act, but you have raised a certain culture where it's just players are playing for money, which is okay. But then there's a problem with that, and I think it's the same thing that's affecting players like Isaac, the same thing affecting like players who want to move, because even in the way they want to move is like, you know what, we don't have that connection that we think we have. Like if I have a better place to go, then I need to go. And it's not just in the player side, because a lot of people are just talking about Isaac. It's also in the way the clubs are handling some of the players, because you sign a person and then it's not performing, and then you just decide, you know what, we don't care about you. Like you either get a new team, go and find a way to, do your things. Like we are not responsible for you. If we are not, if we don't want you, if we don't need you in our team, we are not responsible for you. It's the same thing that clubs are doing too. Even if you go to Chelsea, the way the clubs are doing to people like Chilwell. I don't know about Sterling because Sterling has not been here for so long, but you think Chilwell really did some stuff, like he was really in, he was really playing, he was really putting in some kind of shift to the club, of which you think if, yeah, the club wants to part with them, but they will have been, they should be doing this thing, in a way to consider how the players are going to be. If they're not doing it in that way, then if you are a player and you are on top of your game, you should know, like this thing should come in your mind. Like, if I wasn't performing in the same way that I'm performing now, these people will not be respecting me. These fans will not be calling out my name. These people will not be saying, yeah, we need to. These people will not be making tifos and, creating songs for me. And that just shifts your way of thinking, even in the way you now associate with the fans, associate with the club. It's like I'm here for a period. I'm here to do this kind of work. I'm here to get paid for this kind of work. But I shouldn't be really, really, really putting my heart into it, because if I fail to perform the way these people want me to perform, then they will not be there asking me like, you know what, we are going to give you another year to prove yourself. Oh, we know this thing. We know probably you lost some confidence. Probably you need to, perform, work on yourself on certain things. We can give you some time. We are not willing to just force you out of this club in this way. If the clubs, if the technical directors, if the sporting directors, if the fans are not willing to give that to the players, then you should not expect the same back. You should not expect a player like Isak to be patient with you when he knows if he was not playing, you will turn against him in a minute. Like you will not even consider anything. And that has happened with Connor. Like Connor was, you know, uh, a Chelsea person. Like he was working he was putting his shift. He went to, was it Crystal Palace? And then he started performing the same way that Chalobah went to Crystal Palace and started performing. And Chelsea were like, hey, you are ours. You are scoring a lot of goals for Crystal Palace. You should be scoring a lot of goals for Chelsea. Then they go there. Crystal Palace wants to buy him at the end of the loan period. They were like, no, 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 no. We need him to play. And then he comes. He puts a shift. He's chasing out. He's doing whatever. And it wasn't like he was not performing. He was performing to the best of his ability. Like he was running up and down. Some people say like, oh, he was not as technical, as talented as some of the guys, but then he was doing whatever he was required to do. When Enzo came and there was somebody to be sold, who did the fans come? They were saying like, you know what? We don't want Corner. We don't want, we sold Mount. We are selling Gallagher. It doesn't matter. They forgot how much he was willing to give to the club. And I'm happy that is right now he's coming back to Crystal Palace. I think at least he wasn't getting a lot of games with Atletico Madrid. And now he's coming back to Crystal Palace. And I'm sure a lot of people will start regretting or saying, yo, we should have given him time. But it's the thing with players. It's the thing with players. Like, we only want you when you're performing. Now, if you do that, which is okay, then if I'm performing, you should not call me a snake if I want to move out. If I'm Couture and I want to go to Madrid, you should not call me a snake. If I'm Hazard and I want to go to Madrid, you should not be calling me a snake. If I'm, you know, Rudiger and I want to go to Madrid, you should not call me a snake, because Disasi is here and is not performing, and nobody is saying like, hey, why don't you give Disasi minutes? No, it's just like you're not performing. You get binned, you get beat down, you get insulted, you get racist remarks. You are put in that development squad. You are put in the reserve team. Like, they treat you like you are not needed in the first place, which is a problem. But that wasn't the thing that I was going to talk about. We are just going to do a recap for Premier League game. But again, this is just, we are going to the further end. Like, it's 5 days until the end of the transfer season, and Jackson is going to Bayern. Disasi is going to Bournemouth. And Nkunku, I'm not sure. We have a lot of people we need to move on. There are other transfers for the rest of the league, like Garnacho probably with here. Now there's also rumors about Firmin, the left wing for Barcelona. He didn't play last season. He was always benched. He will only come in for like 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Again, he's injury prone. Now, should the club sign Firmin, Xavi Simons, and Garnacho? And if they're signing all of those guys, have we reached a point where we think like our team is probably complete? Have we reached a point where we think like we have a complete team? Like, this team, we don't need to add more people because it's going to be difficult. Have we reached that point? Or we still need some attacking midfielder? Because if you are talking about an AM, Palmer can play that, and if Palmer is not playing that, Joe Pedro can play that. Do we need Xavi Simons? If you are signing Xavi Simons for the left wing, then do you know that Estevao at some point and Neto at some point will miss the games? And if you are banking on probably some or one of the guy might get injured. Like Neto at some point in the past was injury prone. I don't know about Estevao just performing in every other game. If you are banking on that, then is signing three of these guys really the best decision? Should we just sign one? Or if we go at the most, sign two? Are we being linked to farming because this Xavi Simon deal is not going to work out? Or are we getting linked because it's just the agent playing games with Barcelona? Or we are going to sign three of them? Because I don't know. Sometimes you don't know until it happens, and it's 5 days to the end of the transfer season. So it's something to take a note of. But here is what happened this week. On Friday, Chelsea beat West Ham 5-1, and it was one of those games where it was like we are showing off. We drew with Crystal Palace in the first game and we had to win this game. Now, West Ham, I don't want to repeat this, but I've said it, is a relegation candidate. So it's not a team where you gauge yourself. It's not a team where you come and say like, oh, we are a good team, but just scoring 5 past them. And Palmer was not playing, which means like we have a lot of different ways we can score. Like Pedro was there. We had Chalobah scoring. He had Enzo scoring. Like we can hurt any team through any side, which is very good because it means for any kind. A lot of the teams and a lot of the times in the past where we played and we were patterned. It was like this is a pattern. With Sarri, it was like a pattern where if a team knows how you will score, if a team knows they're going to pass around, and then at some point, if Hazard does not do his magic, they will pass around and make a through pass. So if you are going to block all those places, all those spaces where they're going to get a through pass, then you just hope that if Hazard is not on his good day, Chelsea will not score. And it always happen in that way. Like we will pass and never score. And then it came to Tuchel and he was like, yeah, they're trying to play from behind and then hit you on a counter attack. So if you don't fall to that trap, if you don't follow them, if you don't try to pin them and then they pass from back to front quickly, then they're not going to score. Then it came to Pochettino and we were passing, the same pattern just around the D area. And it was like, hey, if we go back and just defend from our D, they're not going to score. Now with Maresca, there's so many ways we can hurt, especially right now that we have Delap, we have Pedro, we have Palma, we have Estevao, and now, Enzo will go forward at times, Cucurella will go forward at times. We can hurt through passes, counter attack, just pinning people down, corners. It feels good. And there's nothing more to talk about that game. It was just like it was expected. Now, the second game was Man City versus Tottenham, which was a little bit not expected. We had seen Man City looking like they're coming up. Last season, they were not there. And then Club World Cup also proved that they were a team moving in a wavelength. Sometimes they're so good, sometimes they're so bad. And I don't know if this is the way they're continuing or it's just that Spurs have always had a way of stopping them. But then this is a different manager. These are different players to some extent. It can't be like it's just Spurs getting ahead of them. It has to be a problem with Man City. Them just losing against Al Hilal, I think, in the pre-season. They are with Palermo and the other team, and then Leeds, and they were scoring a lot for fun. and then they meet the first big opposition in Spurs and they can score. They can cross to Haaland. I don't know about Man City. I just think that somehow, as much as I've said, like Man City games is outdated to some extent. Like just passing around and hoping that the opposition will lose concentration. It may not work. It probably would work in the past. And it probably used to work because you had players who could do some kind of magic. The brain could make a cross to the striker's head, could make a cross to Haaland's head. Sometimes you had people on their good day, like they pass through three people. Gundogan will go there and just pass in a very, very tight, squeezed space. I don't think that the people that are there right now are able to do that. Now, you might be hoping that they will catch the wave later on, but they will have lost a lot of points. And you expect them to keep, in this, especially these hard fixtures, if they get Liverpool, if they meet Arsenal, if they meet even Man United, you expect them to lose those points, which means they are not going to win the league this season. And that might mean that Pep might decide to either go after this season because he signed a 2 year uh, a 2 year a 2 year contract. This being the first year, I don't know if he's going for the second year. If it happens that is not even among the top four, because if you are going to just from the two games, if you are going to rank the top four, then I'll say no, Arsenal has to be there, Liverpool has to be there, Chelsea has to be there. Now, the third position where you'll have Spurs, which most likely looks the most obvious choice of all the other ones, like Spurs, Crystal, no, Forest, Newcastle, and now Man City. I don't know if Man United is one of them. But then, you see, like Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and Spurs might just be. Now, we are taking 5 teams to Champions League. There might be 5. They might be in the 5th position. I don't know. But I don't think Man City currently, with the players they have, there's no any player in that team aside from Haaland and Rodri, who you can see. Even the Portuguese, I think it's just running on fumes. It's good, but then age usually catches up with people. You might deny, you might say like, oh, people can play until they're 35 or 36, but then at the top level, whenever you just lower your how you play just a little, uh, you will be caught. Like it is easier for you to not like really, really, really perform after just losing just a bit of your speed. If you are depending on your speed to exploit the defense, if you just lost a bit of your speed, then it works so hard against you. And it goes again with passing, with, just body, with agility, with, dribbling. Like you are easily found. And I think for Man City, Gundogan and the rest of the guys, and it's not just the age, it's just that they have also won a lot of this stuff. Like they don't have that passion, they don't have that thing of we need this thing, we must get this thing. Now this new guys, Mamouche, Gonzalez, I don't know, all these guys that are signing, they might have the push, but I don't think they have the capability that people like Silva had, like people like Sane had, people like, De Bruyne had. So I don't, if they find a way to win, I will really be the one coming here and praising Pep. I'll be really be saying Pep is the guy, because looking at the Czechia, looking at the Rangers, looking at they're not there. They're not there. Then we had Bournemouth and Wolves. Again, I've said Wolves are one of the candidates for the last 3 years. I don't know how they always avoid relegation. But they're not a very, 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 very solid team. Both in defense, they have shifted a lot from the way they sacked their managers to the way they have sold a lot of the guys they had, especially now that they sold Acuna, Neto was there. They have sold some of the guys who are like really, really, really. And it happens for a lot of the teams, even with Brighton. Like you have these qualities, and then just the top teams come for them, and then you don't get like quick replacement or replacement of the same quality. You can't be performing in the same way, and I think that's why they're losing some of the games. I think they're also one of the candidate for relegation. They'll be fighting relegation, so winning against them is not a big thing. But Bournemouth last week, they were nearly drawing with Liverpool until Liverpool got the 2 late goals. This week they beat 10-man Wolves, but they were playing well. Semenyo was there. I saw the game. I saw how they were moving the ball. They had Semenyo. They had who's this other guy? Their AM. Like they were playing so well. And then Burnley versus Sunderland, which is one game which really, 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 really I was not expecting. I had seen Sunderland made a lot of signing, how they played, especially their first game, winning 3-0. And I thought them with Burnley, and Burnley how they play, and them being them coming from the championship, and Sunderland just, you know, signing a lot of the players, like Sunderland will be able to beat them. But it was a game which really, changed how I view these games. It wasn't like they were dominating. Just Burnley were playing their game, like they were passing around, just doing their thing. And it's like teams that come from championship. Sometimes it's just, if I'm afraid of you, or if I feel you're a good team, there's a way I will play. And sometimes the way, if I play in that way, there's a high chance you'll score. And it's the same how Newcastle played with Liverpool at the end. Like, whenever they were attacking Liverpool, it was like, this is a 50-50 game. But then, when they came back and started defending, that's when Liverpool especially got the second goal. And that's how they got the third goal. Because Newcastle were, it's like, we are giving you a lot of respect. And I think that's the same thing that happened with Sunderland. At some point, when they're facing you and they think, we can beat you, or we can do this to you, or this is how we should play with you. If they're coming at you, they'll score you. If they're coming to defend, if they're so used to defend, they can defend so well. If they think they're going to beat you, now they allow these spaces and you exploit them. Now, for some teams, they don't know how to defend, but they can press you. If they think you are a team that they can press, if they press you, they'll most likely get a goal. But if they fear you and they come back to defend, that's how they lose certain games. That's why they concede. Now, with Brentford versus Aston Villa, it was a game of 50-50. Aston Villa is good defensively. They have been good with scoring with Watkins, and Brentford, they have lost a lot of guys. They have lost Mbeumo, they have lost Wisa. They have not lost Wisa, but Wisa is not playing for them right now because he wants to be, he wants to move. And you expect their attacking will not be the same. Again, they lost Nogard. You expect the attacking will not be the same. But then they're facing Aston Villa, which is one of the teams which you think will be a 6th, 7th, or will be fighting for Champions League. Aston Villa 2 years ago was in Champions League, I think. But then, no, they are losing these games. And these are some of the games which, in the end, usually matter because you think, like, if Aston Villa had beaten Brentford and just gotten those 3 points, probably when they start being solid, being a solid team, because I'm so sure that at some point they're the same team. They have the keeper, they have the defenders, they have the midfielders, they have, like, it's a stacked team. It's not a team which you think that will be a mid-table team. It will be a team that will be fighting for the fifth, sixth Europe positions. Then Arsenal versus Leeds. It was given. I didn't expect Arsenal to have those, the amount of goals that they had, but it was expected that they would be winning that game. Now, they started with Madueke, which was another interesting bit about the game. Now, they have signed Eze. If they have Eze and they have Madueke, I don't think Martinelli, I'm not sure if they have already sold him, but I don't think Martinelli will want to be the third choice if he really wants to play. There were interest from Saudi Arabia, but if he's not going to Saudi Arabia, then him remaining in Arsenal is very, very counter counteractive. Do you say counteractive? It's negative for his career because he's not going to get those minutes. I'm not sure he's going to get those minutes because if Madueke was chosen ahead of him and now they have Eze and they are still trying to sign another guy, I don't know if he'll play. I don't know if he's going to play. And now Dorman is there and is also getting those minutes. And now if Dorman will be getting those minutes, especially in those league cups in FA, and he'll be on this side, so Madueke will be on this side. Now, he will also not be getting minutes in FA, in League Cup. If he's not getting minutes in Premier League, he's not getting minutes in Champions League, he's not getting minutes in FA, he's not getting minutes in League Cup, he will not be getting any minutes. So I think this is the time for him to go, and he doesn't have to remain and then start raising all these issues like Isak, trying to, bringing problems with the dressing room. Sometimes you just learn this thing and you learn like, I'm not needed. And that's why I think even Nicholas Jackson is looking at all these players and looking at how Chelsea are moving, and you decide, you just realize that you are not needed there. And if the more you stay there, the more you become like Nkunku. I am so sure some people don't even realize that Nkunku is still playing for Chelsea. If it wasn't for the Club World Cup, we wouldn't be knowing when was the last time he played. Probably will not remember. Then Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest. I knew this game would most likely be a 0-0 because Crystal Palace don't concede. They just have a very, very solid defense, and it's just three at the back. And a lot of teams are currently adopting three at the back. Like Chelsea has a pseudo three at the back. Which other team? Crystal Palace has a three at the back. Then you have Sunderland also have a nearly pseudo three at the back. Then you have Man United have a three at the back. Fulham was not playing three at the back. But Brighton, to some extent, no, they haven't. They haven't been playing three at the back. I'm so sure I've seen some teams. I'm not sure which one. I think Brentford also plays three at the back. Like a lot of teams are playing three at the back. And they are becoming solid. Solid. You just wonder if a lot, like more teams will be adopting that, and how it will shift how defenders play or how academies are building their players. Do we have now a solid position? Can we now get to an academy and teach a player to be a CCB or a left center back or a right center back, or we'll just be teaching them to be center back, and then they'll just decide if you are a left center back, if you are a center back, or if you are a right center back, or if you are a left wing back. That has been happening. But then with Crystal Palace and Nottingham Forest, realize Crystal Palace have lost Eze, but they still have a couple of players. I can't remember most of them, but I know their defense. Guay, somebody with a very, very difficult name playing CCB. And then we had, now, I can't remember their names, but they were solid. And Nottingham Forest with Chris Wood. Now, you expect them to score, especially this week. I think they're facing, is it Leeds? And then Everton versus Brighton was another game which was very weird to me, because Everton just looks like a team that is also, if it does very well, it will be above probably 15th or 16th, where Man United is. But then them defeating Brighton is such, it's such a weird thing for Brighton, because Brighton have, and I don't know, they just have proper scouts. Because even if you look at their team, they just have, they're still stacked, and they have sold a lot of people. And to them being just stacked again, having, you go to their mid, they have Baleba and this, was it Anderson or somebody? I'm forgetting. You go to their defense, they still have people that you can sign, people that can go to the top four. Uh, Now they have sold like the entire, like you see, they sold in Enciso, they have sold Joe Pedro, they still have the Arsenal guy. What's his name? The guy who was playing for Arsenal. They're still a good team, but them getting defeated 2-0 versus Brighton, it just shows that Brighton usually turns up whenever they meet a good team. And how, as I talked in the past, sometimes you just realize, sometimes you can tell that some of these players, whenever they want to be sent by this bigger team, they usually go and turn up. Like right now, you take Brighton when they face Chelsea, and now there's just some people who want to play for Chelsea, want to be signed. You'll see them just putting a shift. You'll see now Baleba is not playing the way he was playing with Everton, just holding the ball and passing behind. Now he'll be running around, trying to dribble past 5 people, trying to move the ball quicker, trying to pass. And they just push their game just a little notch high. Then Fulham versus Man United, it was again a game I knew it was possibly going to be a draw. People usually say, you can go and watch my prediction. It's there, the video's there. I said that Man United versus Fulham is a draw, because Man United are not, have not really found a way to keep scoring, and they still always look like they are solid at the back, but then some people will make a mistake, and then they don't have a keeper who can save them time after time after time after time. Some teams usually have a keeper. I saw the game against Liverpool with Newcastle. If it was another keeper, and then Newcastle would probably be having 4 in there. But then Alisson was just saving a play, like he was just there whenever they had to, beat their high, what do you call it? High press. Is it high press? Like the offside trap. Whenever they beat the offside trap, Alisson was just there to sweep the ball. And it happened again with Vicario, Tottenham. I just don't know how he has just become so good. Like he was saving the team. Some extent, you feel like if this keeper wasn't there, this team will concede. Like the way we conceded against West Ham, you just feel like if it was another keeper, we wouldn't concede that goal. Like, it was a goal just coming at you. You should have saved that goal. And I think that's the worst thing with Man United, because they can't depend on the keeper to save them. Be it Onana, be it Bayandir, he can't save them. And Fulham, again, they're just the same team that was last year. Basi, all these other guys. They're a solid team. So you expect them to give the same opposition. Now with Newcastle versus Liverpool, I had also predicted that it should end with a draw, which should have been a draw if Newcastle were prepared to fight until the end of it. But then they just wasted. They just wasted at the end by coming back. They wasted after when Liverpool scored because they had to shift. And I know sometimes you are racing and then you get tired and you decide, you know what, we need to come back and just wait. But if you're not used to that game, you are just inviting attacks. And if you can't, defend on your goal, then there's a highly low likelihood that you'll consider goal. And that's what happened to Newcastle. Now, currently, position one, Arsenal, then Spurs, and then we have then Chelsea, and then uh, you know Man City is there. I'm just remembering. I'm not seeing the table, but I just know that's like the chronology that's happening. Man United is in position 16th. They were 15th last season. Whether they improve is another thing. Now, next week, a lot of games are happening. The most important game is that Chelsea we are facing. I think, is it what team are we facing? Now, I'll make another video for that. But I think we are not facing a good team. We are facing a beatable team. A beatable, not a easy team. A beatable team. I know Nottingham Forest are facing Leeds. Arsenal are facing Liverpool. Spurs are facing, I don't know. I'll have to check. Anyway, if you're here and you haven't subscribed, subscribe. You have done 40 minutes of live streaming. And for those who have subscribed, for those who like, for those who comment, I really, really, really appreciate that you are doing it. You're doing, yeah, you're doing it. So tomorrow I'm still making some videos about some of these games and about transfers, because a lot of transfers are going to happen from now. This is the holy grail of transfer from 26th to September 1st. Thank you.